Okay, so we're live on YouTube, so we're good to go. Let's go ahead and get started with the Finance Committee meeting.
Okay, good evening, everyone. First item we have to discuss tonight under Finance is our healthcare renewal. Every year, the borough uses Benefit Connections. They're based in Carlisle. The owner of Benefit Connections is a gentleman by the name of Rob Cole, C-O-L-L-E, and Rob has helped us again this year in working through our insurance renewal. We are presently contracted with Capital Blue Cross. We pay $15,381 a month, which is a shared premium with the Newville Water and Sewer Authority. Not all of that premium is for the borough. The renewal price has come in for the current plan from Capital Blue Cross at $15,683 a month. This represents an increase of $302 or 2%. Rob has given us some options. One of the problems we have in looking at other plans is this. We are tied by the collective bargaining agreement with the Newville Police Department, which in section 18.1 of the CBA states, the Newville Police Officers Association specifically stipulates coverage shall be a Capital Blue Cross plan, PPO, with specific copays. Section 18.1 of the collective bargaining agreement states the borough may change coverage only as long as there is no premium share or additional deductible imposed. Closest plan with the copays that we currently have is the Capital Blue Cross Gold plan. And the cost of that plan is $14,823 per month. But even looking at that plan, it is not identical to our current plan and would require negotiation with the collective bargaining union. What this would open us up to potentially is if we ask the officers to go with a lesser plan, they will surely come back and want something in the way of an additional benefit. Might be an additional sick day, might be an additional holiday, but this is something that we could be faced with. The other problem that we have is our group is very small and we cannot split the police department off from our group. I don't know why that is, but we did look into that last year when we were in negotiations with the bargaining unit. So basically the best option appears to be to stay with Capital Blue Cross. And the cost of the new premium would be $15,683. That would be effective in July. And again, that would be a $302 increase. Is there any discussion?
Fred, I'm assuming there's no cooperatives or anything like that with municipal governments that would where their purchasing power is greater for healthcare.
We did belong to a purchasing cooperative a couple of years ago. It's like anything else when you're in a co-op. You have good years and you have bad years. Right. Towards the end, we did not do very well. So we have been on our own with Capital Blue Cross. And I'll tell you, when we negotiated with the Police Officers Association, I expected two major hurdles, number one being salary and the other two being healthcare. When we came down to the line item for healthcare, the Police Officers Association told us we are very happy with the present plan. We offer no changes and we are happy to keep the present plan. I haven't used my healthcare. I can't tell you, anything from personal experience, but the other employees who have used it have all said they consider it to be good coverage and it's universal. It can be used almost anywhere.
Do we want action on that tonight?
Well, we should take action on renewing because I need to get the renewal contract papers in by the 15th of June. So
Fred,
it's either tonight or Tuesday night.
Fred, I hear there are constraints here, but why wouldn't the UPMC plan? I mean, and when you change a plan, there are always complications. You know, you have different networks and different things. Drugs are covered differently, so there's a certain amount of friction and to work out when you change plans. But the UPMC plan looks like it's superior in terms of the benefits to employees in pretty much all the dimensions, and it's cheaper by 0.3%. So maybe it's not worth it.
Can I interject something there about the UPMC? This is speaking from a dental point. Their coverage is not very good. They don't cover a lot of things that most insurances would cover. And I mean, I'm talking dental wise here, but so I don't know about their healthcare, you know, the doctor and hospital part of it, but I know dental wise, they don't do very well. So
I asked that same question of Rob Cole when we were doing the renewal, and what Rob told me was the same thing, Joey. He said the participants in the UPMC plan are very narrow.
Right.
And he said it is not, for that reason, it's not really, it wasn't a plan that he would recommend.
It means it's a narrow.
We've gone this route in previous years with Aetna. We had a lot of bad experience with Aetna, with doctors not accepting our cards, and then with Aetna not paying claims. We were with Geisinger a couple of years ago, and we were with Gettysburg Hospital. And the hospital plans always seem to work out. We just end up getting a lot of complaints back from the employees. We can go wherever council chooses. Problem is, we don't have a big window of opportunity here to negotiate with the police. And we must negotiate with the police on this. We just can't arbitrarily make a change without their consent, because if we do, we'll trigger an unfair labor practice from the union.
My suggestion is to stay with what we have, and then next year maybe we can look a little sooner than, you know, a month and see what the opportunities are there, so that if we do need to make a change, you know, we'll have time to negotiate with the police department. Because even if you go with the Capital Blue Cross Gold, that's going to increase their deductible, if I'm looking at it right.
It is.
And, you know, that's not going to make them happy.
How does it increase their deductible? I thought it was the same.
No, if I'm looking here, it looks like right now their deductible is 500 and 1,000. If you go with the gold, it looks like it's at least 1,000 to 2,000.
Well, there's a few goals here.
Yeah.
Which are we talking about, Fred? Are we talking about the first two columns on the first page?
What we have right now on the first page, you see current, that's our current plan, 15,381. And the renewal is a Capital Blue Cross Gold PPO, which is at 15,683.
It's the one right next to it.
Yes.
Yeah. And you haven't filled in any of the boxes there, but I'm assuming they're all the same then?
Yeah, everything stays the same. Everything stays the same.
Except the premium goes up.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then when you were talking about the other Capital Blue Cross Gold that we could change to, that was like 14,000, isn't that the next?
Yes.
That's the next column.
That's the next column over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking. Well, I wasn't thinking about that one. I just was talking about the renewal versus UPMC. But given what I've heard about UPMC from you, I mean, I'm not going to argue against Blue Cross. They're my pension holder.
So, but that's my opinion. But you know,
I mean, my experience is the one blue is no better than the other blue. They both have their perks and both have their downfalls, but you know, about 98% of the doctors accept both of them. So that's good. I mean, I'm personally on UPMC's plan, their health plan. I don't have a problem with it, but we use something different for eye and dental. We use Delta and
Delta, yeah.
yeah.
We would like to do that, but we don't have the numbers to get in their group.
Yeah.
So
So does Blue Cross also provide your dental coverage, Fred?
no, United Concordia, I believe, is a dental, and Crystal Vision is the other. But we
Nice.
don't provide dental or vision, Jack. The
Oh.
employees pay for the premiums there 100%, and we do it through a payroll deduction.
I see.
Now, the company we use for that is the Pennsylvania Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We're part of their plan.
Okay. So that's not an issue here, dental.
All right, so I have down that we need to approve the renewal for the employee healthcare plans for,
That's correct.
okay. All right,
The next item to discuss is the insurance renewal. And our plan will renew on June 1st. We've had quite a bit of discussion this year at renewal time. When we received our renewal from Brown and Brown of the Lehigh Valley, let me back up by first telling you that last year, the Borough Council agreed to appoint Brown and Brown. They interviewed 3 agencies, and they selected Brown and Brown to serve as the broker of record, which means rather than the borough going out for bids and taking competitive bids for insurance, they appointed Brown and Brown to go out and search the market and bring us back the best product at the lowest price. Last year they did. They made a substantial savings for the borough. Council was quite happy. This year the renewal is a little different. Not due to the poor work or lack of work on the part of our broker of record. As you'll see in a few moments, there were some mitigating factors that were against them and us, which drove the cost up substantially. And the increase in our price is really on the workers' comp side. So let me go through and explain to you why we're experiencing the cost increase that we are. The first item that increased our workers' comp cost has to do with our experience modification factor, which is a rating set by the Pennsylvania Workers' Compensation Rating Bureau. What they do is they look at all of our loss history over a 3-year period of time. They go back, and what had hurt us, we were really moving in the right direction. We were down at 0.807% last year and falling. And then we had an employee who had an accident here at the borough office. She had a fall. She had the 2 things that hurt you the most in a workers' comp claim: a surgery and an extended loss of time. So when the new rating came out for the policy year, our experience modification factor rose from 0.807 to an even 1%. 2 other factors that are really hurting us. The borough, as you all know, processes payroll for the Newville EMS. We've done this since 1994. In processing payroll for Newville EMS, we initially started out with 1 EMT who is still employed, Teresa Windemaker. Shortly after that, I guess it was about 5 years later, they added another EMT and then a part-time person. But again, the cost of the running the paychecks and the salaries that we were covering was not that bad. It was under $2,000 a pay. Right now, the borough's biweekly payroll runs $18,000. In comparison to the Newville EMS biweekly payroll, which runs $9,000. So what we have here is a forecast. And what I have to do when we work on these insurance renewals, I have to forecast our salaries for next year. So I can tell people, I can tell the insurance company what our salaries are because we adopt a salary schedule. What I can't do with any degree of certainty is forecast the EMS payroll. But what I can tell you now is that it has been averaging around $9,000 every 2 weeks. So if that trend continues, we're looking at revenues for the entire year of $208,000 going out for the payroll of the Newville EMS. Now, although the EMS reimburses us in full for the wages, the benefits, we still run that payroll through our books. We run it through our system. And these employees are treated in the eyes of the workers' compensation carrier no differently than the police, myself, Lindsay. They're considered employees. So we are paying workers' compensation coverage on these wages. In addition, what we're looking at next year is compensation of $5.75 per $100 of compensation, which means the insurance company is charging us for the EMS payroll $5.75 per $100 of compensation. So you may say, well, why'd you forecast it so high, Fred? Why didn't you underestimate it? Well, our payroll is subject to audit. The workers' comp carrier will send someone in, they will sit down with Jeff Kowick's office, and they will audit us. And if we underestimate our salaries, and they will end up coming up with a new number, and they will just simply give us a bill and say, here's what you owe us for these additional wages. There's no escaping it. I would rather estimate on the high side and get a refund than underestimate it and have to pay a substantial increased premium. So in summary, EMS wages are accounting for more of our cost. And the third factor is a factor that we saw after 9/11 and our insurance renewals following 9/11 is the uncertainty of the marketplace. In the insurance business, they call this exposure. In a post 9/11 era, it was the uncertainty of terrorism, domestic terrorism, foreign terrorism, and what all this would cost. And so the insurance companies accounted for it. They raised premiums. And that's the same thing that's happened here. The COVID-19 crisis is a little different. COVID-19 is now, under Pennsylvania state law, an eligible illness for workers' compensation coverage. And so as such, if any of our police officers, firemen, EMS people, office employees should become sick, they can file a workers' compensation claim. And I can tell you, I just read a case of a police officer in a borough in Northeast Pennsylvania who not only filed a claim, but he also filed for heart and lung benefits. So this is a game changer. This COVID-19 is a game changer. And the insurance companies don't know how to react for it. And so we're seeing a certain amount of our increased premium for workers' comp reflected here. So those are the three factors that basically led to our increase in workers' comp. Some of them we can deal with. For example, we can continue to work with our safety programs that we have to make sure our employees are kept safe, that they use safe methods, that they use safety equipment. That will help keep our losses in check. The other thing we can do is we can go back to the fire company and we can sit down with the fire company and say, look, these EMS costs, you're going to have to absorb them, and rightfully so. They're your expense. They're not the police department's expense. They're not the water and sewer authority's expense. These are attributed to the wages that we are paying for you every 2 weeks through payroll. And we could simply tell the fire company that we are going to assess these cost every 2 weeks as part of your payroll. So just as you pay us for Social Security and Medicare and state taxes, you'll begin to pay us something for workers' compensation. Now, I know there are people on council that are saying, well, wait a second, Fred, we already pay the ambulance workers' comp, and we pay the fire company's workers' comp. Then the townships help us with that. Why are we charging the EMS? Well, under state law, we are required, because the fire company is based in the borough. If the fire company is based in the borough must assume the cost of workers' comp for the fire company. If the ambulance unit is based in the borough, we must assume the cost for the ambulance. And those costs are fixed costs. They're not based upon payroll. They're based upon population and other factors. So that's a cost over here. But what we're talking about is our ambulance unit runs a paid driver system. They have paid drivers, they have paid EMTs. That is not the ambulance workers' comp that I just spoke of. This is salary and benefits, simply the same as our police officers earning salary and benefits, office workers, water and sewer authority employees. And under Pennsylvania workers' comp law, there's a charge assessed to it. And it's a costly expense for the borough. So the option is that we could probably offset $11,000 of this increase by simply going back to the fire company and saying to them, you're going to be charged here out, you're going to be charged for workers' compensation. Now they may turn around and say, that's terrible. They have the option to go and look at having payroll done and having their workers' comp, they can investigate this. Maybe they would find a cheaper workers' compensation rate. Maybe that would be the case, but they do have options. There are options for the fire company, and we would certainly not let them without payroll services. But the cost has just become so great that we can't expect the borough taxpayers to pick this cost up this year and again next year, and there has to be some cap on it. So I think the best way is simply to begin charging them for that expense. When you look at the renewal, there's 3 components to the renewal package. The one is what I call the basic package of insurance coverage, which you are all familiar with because you own properties and you have vehicles. In the basic package, we have general liability insurance coverage. We have property and casualty coverage. We have automobile insurance. We have theft and dishonesty bonds. We have professional liability insurance for the council members, for the authority members. And the cost of that plan last year was $28,512. That's now with a company called Argonaut Insurance. And that will increase to $30,141 next year, which is an increase of $1,629 or a 5.4% increase. The workers' comp is presently at $44,231, and it's with a company known as AmTrust. It is going to increase to $62,367.18 next year. And so that's an $18,136 increase, or a 29% increase. And the third component of the insurance package is what is known as cyber terrorism insurance. This helps us if someone hacks into our computer system, should hack in and steal monies from our accounts and so forth. Cost of this insurance is $1,669 presently, and it will decrease to $1,561 next year. So the good news is that plan has gone down. So at this point in time, are there any questions on the insurance renewal?
Yeah.
Is there any reason we wouldn't negotiate with EMS?
Well, I'm just going to say this, Jack. I think the time has come for a couple of other reasons. Not only are we faced with the workers' comp going up, but we now received a notice of a fire company EMT who has filed. Apparently this person lost their job due to the COVID-19 crisis and went and filed for unemployment compensation. So now that claim comes back against who? Does it come back against the fire company? No, because the fire company is not recognized because we're making the payroll. We're paying the employee. So under the eyes of the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry, the borough is the responsible party. So, you know, we know there's a tremendous backlog in claims. This might be the first, it might be the last. We might have 5 more claims coming. These claims are going to drive our unemployment compensation costs up. So what started out as a good gesture on the part of the borough with the EMS basically as a small 2-person operation is now evolved into, you know, somewhere around 12 to 15 employees, a biweekly payroll, which is half of the borough's payroll. And it's become a big operation. And all these costs running through our books increase our cost of workers' comp, increase our cost of general liability, because general liability is based upon our revenues and expenses. And it's also going to increase our unemployment costs now that people are filing claims because they're out of work. So all of these things may prompt council, and it's up to you folks. If you would like to sit down and talk to the EMS chief, president of the fire company, and discuss which way we can go. The 2 options, we continue as we are and assess the cost appropriately. Now, the nice thing for them is those costs would be incremental. They would pay those every 2 weeks as part of their payroll. Or they could simply say, hey, we will go on our own and hire a company to do payroll and so forth. And then that would remove all that liability from the borough completely. So those are the 2 options.
Do you want us to give you direction on that tonight?
Well, the first thing I think we need to do is accept the renewal so I can notify the insurance, because we need to get insurance cards for our vehicles for June 1st. The next thing is we need to make a decision on which way we want to go with the fire company. Do we want to have the EMS chief come in and sit down? And, you know, this is a business decision. This is something I think we need to sit down and explain to them and give them the option. You know, either you're going to be charged for these additional costs, or if you'd like to look at other options, we can facilitate that move. We can, you know, notify COIC's office, and I know Jeff COIC's office will do everything to move and migrate their payroll. They won't suffer any hardship as a result of it, but
right.
Those are the options you have.
So we're going to ask you to set up a meeting with representatives from the EMT. Does the fire company need to be there?
So that's what you want. We can have a meeting with, I would say, the president of the fire company and the possibly their treasurer, and also the chief of the EMS. Darcy Newcomer, Trent Wenger, and Brad, I can't think of Brad, the treasurer's last name.
Alfer.
Is it Stauffer?
No, he's a deputy fire chief.
Yeah.
I can't think of the young man that's the treasurer.
And what's
He's
Darcy's
also an
title?
EMT. What's that?
What's Darcy's title?
Darcy is EMS chief.
All right, so I have down for, first
Brad
of all, to
Carson.
approve. What's
Brad
that?
Carson is, the other person, his name is Carson. Last name is
Okay.
Carson, and Trent Wenger.
I have down for us to approve the renewal with insurance renewal with Brown and Brown. And then also for the borough manager to facilitate a meeting with the president of the fire company, the treasurer, the EMT chief, for the purpose of discussing payroll.
That's correct.
Okay.
Are there any other questions on the insurance renewal?
No.
Okay, the next item to discuss is the pension cost of living adjustment. We have two police officers who are retired, both are former police chiefs, and they are Greg Hershey and Vaughn Smith. Vaughn Smith is eligible this year for a cost of living adjustment. He will receive a COLA in the amount of $22.47 per month. It will increase his benefit to $1,482.18. We need to take no action on this. I made council aware of these cost of living adjustments when they come up, just so you can keep track of the expenditures and so forth. But you have two officers drawing pension. Those are the two costs to the pension plan, in addition to the administrative costs that you're asked to approve at the end of the year. Those are the only costs that we have for our pension plan presently. Any questions on the cost of living adjustment?
Oh, just you said no action, right?
No action is necessary. The next item we have to discuss is a matter which has come up at our Economic Development Authority meetings, and that is for the Economic Development Authority to become enrolled in professional organizations that will lend support to the work of the authority. And those memberships include the Pennsylvania Downtown Center at a cost of $675 per year. CADIC, the Cumberland Area Economic Development Corporation, which is a cost of $250 a year, and the Carlisle Area Chamber of Commerce, which is a $250 per year cost. The borough had previously been a member of CADIC, was previously a member of the Carlisle Chamber of Commerce. And I can tell you that our affiliation with both of those organizations was always extremely positive and continues to be very positive, even though we are not a direct member. The Pennsylvania Downtown Center does remarkable work with communities that are trying to improve the economy of their townships, boroughs, and especially downtowns. We worked with this agency last on the historic district project. They're extremely well-versed in what they do. Chris Galata has recommended participation here. And if you recall, they provided us some detailed information last year of work that they were doing in Braddock Borough out in the western part of the state with an initiative that was started there by the current Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania. So this is a great organization. It's been around a long time. And those memberships have been endorsed by the group that is working to help start up the authority. I don't know if Jack has anything he would like to add.
Not really. I think, I mean, from what I've heard, it's a good organization that provides you kind of data that would be useful to us in being able to go out and market our town some. I was kind of disappointed by the document here. It's a remarkably Byzantine explanation of how you go about joining it and what your status is, but it doesn't tell you anything about what they actually do.
Yeah.
But I would take it on Chris's word that from what I've been told about the data that they have, it would be very helpful to us.
The data that we were given as an example for Braddock was very detailed. I know this organization has worked with the Carlisle Downtown Center, and it's amazing the numbers that they can provide you with regarding retail sales and spending. So amazing how they're able to track that. But it's very helpful, and they've helped a lot of small boroughs throughout the state.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. And, you know, you don't see any of that reflected here, but if that's the case, I think it would be useful to us because we're going to try to be convincing people that this is a good place to be. And we're going to be looking for the kinds of businesses we want to attract here. And then having that kind of data will tell us where we should be targeting. So I think it would be useful.
Well, Fred,
Correct.
didn't we approve to join that last year when we were working with Chris?
Yes.
I thought so.
Nope. We just didn't do it at the end of last year. The council
Right.
changed and we
Right.
didn't know which way we were going to go with the authority or not have an authority. So now we pretty much know which way we're going.
Okay.
Okay, any questions about the memberships? The next item that I'd like to discuss are the 2020 budget adjustments. And I don't think there's any need to go into detail on these, but we've had these out to council members for several weeks. And of course, we're looking at doing this due to losses of revenue and also to offset those losses of revenue, which we've estimated to be about $82,000. We're going to come up with spending cuts of $84,200. As a result of this, the new 2020 budget will look like this. It will include revenues of $751,100 and expenditures of $734,300. This will still leave an unexpended fund balance for the council to work with in the amount of $16,700. Does anyone have any questions regarding the budget adjustments?
No.
No.
Okay, the next item I'd like to talk about are the tax collections for April and May and the tax collector's report, which you had in your packet from our tax collector, Jerry Ann Spangler. Through the end of April, the borough received remittance checks from the tax collector on a weekly basis. Beginning May 1st and continuing now to the end of the face period, which I believe you have set for November 1st, the tax checks will be issued to the borough every 2 weeks. So we will receive tax monies from the tax collector as she collects those monies every 2 weeks. At the end of April, we had $143,769.55 in uncollected borough property taxes. In the month of April, we had collections of $58,847.57. And in the month of May, we had collections totaling $111,359.78. This leaves us with a balance of uncollected borough property taxes of $32,409.77. Now, I'd also like to report on the earned income tax collection. Two major revenue sources for the borough are property taxes and EIT revenue. In the 2020 budget, the council had projected EIT revenues current year and prior years totaling $165,000. Through the month of May, the borough has collected from current and prior years EIT revenue from the Cumberland County Tax Bureau, $52,740.97. Again, $52,740.97. If you were to take the $165,000, divide it out over a period of 12 months, by this time, we should have collected $68,750. So you can see we're about 30% or $16,000 low on our projections. This is all attributed to the declining EIT revenues due to people who are out of work. And these declines manifested themselves in the months of April, and May. Now the big test will be next week. June is a good EIT month. It's typically about a $20,000 revenue month. So we'll be anxious to see what our revenues will be then. But right now, we're down 30%, which I'm happy to say I was projecting 50%. So we're not seeing nearly the losses I thought we were, but we're still down 30%. Anyone have any questions regarding the tax revenue?
Why do we think the next month will be better?
What was that, Jack?
Why do you think that June is going to be a better month?
I don't know if it'll be better or worse, Jack. I'm hoping because of the tax bureau being shut down in April, we had split payments. Instead of one payment, we had two split payments. May, we got back on track. The bureau was back to functioning normally. I'm hoping that with the people who have returned to work, that our June revenues will be a little bit better. But remember, with this EIT, you're always working in arrears. And we do a good job. The tax bureau does a good job in remitting everything to us in a timely manner. But if people aren't working, if they're unemployed, the revenues will be down. I'm hoping they're on target. The numbers are starting to come back up. They're looking a little bit better, but we're not out of the woods yet. So next week will be a telling report as to our earned income tax. Anything else on taxes? The next item I'd like to talk about are the pension plans. As you know, we have two pension plans, a non-uniform pension plan and a police pension plan. And they're both placed with the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs in Harrisburg. And they're placed with an organization called the PSAB, Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs, MRT. So you'll hear it referred to as PSAB MRT. Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs Municipal Retirement Trust is where our money is at present. In April, we finished up the month with a non-uniform pension plan balance of $425,365.92, which represented a loss from the previous month of $43,913.51. The police pension plan at the end of April finished up with $337,326.75 for a loss of $46,324. We have experienced losses in both March and April. And for that reason, on May 21st, I called Linda Costa. Linda has worked at the Boroughs Association for many years. If she's watching, I won't say how many, but she's been there a long time and she's a very good source of information. She's a very good employee. And Joe Scott. And I've known Joe Scott before his days with the PSAB. And I value what these people have told me because I know them to be straight shooters. They're very honest people. And they're very concerned about the work that we do here in boroughs across Pennsylvania. First fact that I was told by Joe Scott was in 2019, the plans earned 17% growth. So in 2019, at the end of the year, we finished up with 17% overall growth, which is good because another organization that we have involved in our pension plans is the firm of Thomas J. Anderson. And those folks at Thomas Anderson, they're the actuarials. It's an extremely good firm to work with, probably one of the best in the state, for the reason that Joe Kennedy and all of his staff at Thomas Anderson, many of those people are former Auditor General employees. They worked in the Bureau of Pensions. They know the problems. They know how to deal with our plans. And Thomas Anderson has been a very good firm to work with. So I can tell you, council members, that you have two good people mentioning, administering your pension plans, PSAB and Thomas Anderson. Thomas Anderson has set, as part of our minimum municipal obligation, which is our annual budget, the budget that we need to hit and make to keep our pension plans sound. Thomas Anderson has projected that the borough should have 7% growth rate in its pension plans. Otherwise, if it should fall less than that, it may become a requirement that the borough and the employees begin to contribute to the pension plans. We've never been in that shape. In all the years I've been here, we've never been in that shape. We've always hit that 7%. Again, last year you hit 17%. It's pretty good. So where are we now? Where is the plan at now in March? In March, when the pandemic really hit, the loss of the plan was 14%. In April, the loss of the plan at the close of business, April 30th, was 7%. And on May 19th, at close of business, the plan's losses were 5.25%. So you can see that things are starting to improve there. I specifically asked Linda and Joe, is there anything we could do to shore up our plans? Could we move them into something that is relatively low risk? And the answer is yes. They have what's called a fixed asset account, basically bonds and securities. It does not have a good growth rate, but it is a secure area to go if you want to move our money to a safe place and still stay within PSAB. They did not recommend that you do that. They are seeing, improvements in the performance of the plan since March. They suggest maybe write it out, look at it one more month back in June. And to that end, Joe Scott would be happy to join with us at a finance meeting or any other time. Joe lives in Mechanicsburg, and he would be happy to come down, talk to you, or answer any questions that you may have. He told me ours was not the only phone call that he's received. He gets calls daily from boroughs across the state. One of the other things that I did was just so that we could have something perhaps to compare to. I sent our plan documents and our statements up to Evan Dickinson. You all know Evan. He works, he's our finance person at Mid-Penn Bank. He's a tremendous help to the borough. And so he's going to take a look at things. It doesn't hurt to have, there's no cost for that at all. There's no cost for his services. And his trust division is going to look and see what they can offer. But I felt when you're looking at these losses, to sit back and just say, oh, well, is not a response that is proper from our borough, nor is it proper me. And so we needed to do some additional investigation, and that's what we have found. Do you have any questions regarding the pension plans?
No.
Go
So
ahead.
what is the usually in a pension plan? There's a projected earnings percentage, right? I mean, the actuarial estimate of what you're going to need to pay out is based on a certain growth factor.
That is what Thomas Anderson has said at 7%.
So in other words,
Looking at our plans historically over the years, they have used that 7% number for the calculation of our MMOs. And again, as I said, we have not had a requirement. We did initially. We were not with the Boroughs Association at that time. We were with another. We were with Prudential Investments back in 94, 95. And we weren't doing well. And we moved our funds over to PSAB, and we've had steady growth every year. This is a year that, we're seeing substantial losses. But again, in March, the losses were 14%. As of the 19th of May, they're up to still a loss, but it's 5.25%.
Right.
Fred, we probably have about 2 or 3 minutes here before we should jump over to the other meeting.
Okay, I think I've gone through all the, and there's a lot to cover here because we've not had a meeting in some time. I apologize. I apologize for going on about some of this, but it's not just, some of these matters are pretty weighty.
Well, you don't need
And,
to apologize for anything.
Well, I've talked over my limit.
Invent
So
office.
looking at the treasurer's report, the general fund balance at the end of April was 26,720.79. And I can tell you it improved substantially during the month of May. The rental fund balance at Mid-Penn Bank, 6,202.73. Street lighting account at Mid-Penn Bank is 3,384.84. Fire tax account, 49,755.54. Our general expense debit card, 1,737.06. And the Newville area events, the balance there is up due to the receipts from the sale of the Newville Together yard signs. Highway aid, we have not had any expenses out of our highway aid account in some time. So the balance there is 5,168.35. In our payroll account at the end of April, we had 15,382.92. In the police department, the savings at Belco checking account there was 6,358.28. Canine fund at Belco was 8,848.14. The auxiliary police account at Adams County National Bank, 271. Police debit card at F&M was 332.39. We've gone over the pension plan statements. Our joint veterans account, 1,775.81. That will be dropping because we will be paying for the hometown hero banners from Big Spring Ave soon. And capital improvement fund has 1,466.89. Tax anticipation loan, 3,995.93. I do have a check going out to the Harrisburg Area Community College, which is a large check in the amount of $5,000. Classes have started back up, and so we need to cover the tuition for our police officer, Mr. Brady, and that check will be going out. Other than the insurance renewals, we need to keep our spending to these amounts that you're going to see here tonight. A good example, Irwin and McKnight, legal services to the Economic Development Authority, $350. I'll tell you that I got a bill from Tim Cormany for the month of April, and Tim only charged us $400. These people are really working with us to keep our costs down. Irwin and McKnight services for Borough Council during the month of April, $562.50. And DACO uniform rentals for Public Works, $132.82. AB Martin lumber for the bleachers. This project is now 100% complete. The bleachers are in place at the park. $439.80 was the cost there. Boston Mutual Disability, Sick and Life Insurance, $371.26. Edmill Fuels, $141. I would like to begin paying Edmill with our debit card. Edmill bills us twice a month, and we are always behind because we only pay bills once a month. So Lindsay can go on and she could pay Edmill just as we're paying Sheets. We pay Sheets once a month with our debit card, so we don't incur any additional costs or penalties. So I'd like your permission to pay Edmill Fuels for Public Works fuel every month, again, using that Borough debit card. This will keep us at a zero balance. Any problems with that?
No.
Higher Information Group, our copier leases, $46.29, and this is the surcharge we face when we go over the allotted number of copies. Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors, this is the annual subscription to their magazine, $40. Sailor's Market bottled water and paper towels for the borough office and the police station, $27.36. Pepsi Beverage Company soda to restock the machines at the trailhead and park, $415.60. Pennsylvania Code Alliance zoning and code enforcement for the month of April, $1,263.60. And trash dumpster service from advanced disposal, $245.57, making the total general fund bills $4,409.80 with no highway aid bills this month. Any questions on the bills or the treasurer's?
Nope. All right.
That's all I have.
We have about 3 minutes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut this one down. You should have a second link to go to the other one. So I will see you on that side. Okay.
Okay.
Scott, when we go to the other meeting, will YouTube be disabled for a few minutes before you start?
Well, we have 3 minutes. Is it something?
Well,
Can we-
just a quick message